Hello, and welcome to the Her Money, Her Business podcast. This is a podcast for women starting or growing their own business and features episodes about knowing your finances, improving your money confidence, as well as guest interviews with women just like you as part of the specialty series Everyday Business Heroes. If you wish you were good with money, want to feel more confident managing your money, or want to struggle less while making money, then you're in the right place. And if you're new around here, this podcast is brought to you by my course Money In, Money Out, that teaches you the basics of managing the money coming in and out of your business. I'm your host, Sonia Belzarolo, business financials coach, bookkeeper, and champion for women who want to be the master of their own financials. Let's get started. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm going to talk to you about Cashflow Success. When students join my Money In, Money Out mini course that sponsors this podcast, I ask the question, what are they struggling with the most in managing their business finances? And the most common answer is successfully managing cash flow and how to do this. So in today's episode, what I want to talk to you about is two things around cash flow. Is what is it that you're aiming for when you want to manage your cash flow successfully? What does that mean? And how do you know if you're successful? And we're also going to talk through the common ways that you can get your cash flow under control and some of the things you can focus on. So when we talk about successfully managing cash flow, the markers for this and the success markers are very different for every business. Every business is a completely unique creation, and what managing your cash flow successfully means for you will be very different for me and for any other small business out there. But what I want to do in today's episode is discuss the main things you can focus on and give you some ideas on how you'll know that you're starting to successfully manage the cash flow in your business. So the success markers that we'll talk about today in the podcast, you'll really just be thinking of the ones that resonate with you and make the most sense to you in your business. So we do have people in business that follow the podcast and listen, and you yourself may have a product business or a service business or something different again. Generally, you fall into either a product business or a service or a combination of both sometimes. And so obviously in managing your cash flow, it's very different for someone who has a product-based business, particularly where those products are paid over a counter, let's say, so straight up, versus the cash flow of someone who is a service-based business and is issuing invoices, etc. So anyway, let's dive in and start talking about what it is that you're aiming to do if you're someone who says, I really wish I could manage my cash flow better, or I want to be successful at managing my cash flow. What does that mean? So the two parts to this. So basically cash flow is the money in and the money out of your business and how those fall across a month and a year. If we looked at months in the life of a business, what sales are coming in across that month? So what money is coming in the door from things that you've sold? And where do those payments fall across the months? Do you get all of your payments in a rush at the end of the month and the first 3 weeks are low weeks for revenue coming in? Or is it evenly spread across you? Do you have lots of peaks and troughs? Again, every business is different depending on how you're selling and how you're charging people for what you do. And then the other side of it is the money going out. So what expenses are going out and when do you have to pay those? Does it happen that all of the direct debits that come out of your business happen at the beginning of the month? Or are they evenly spread across the business? Do you have enough money left over from the sales that go into your business and for the expenses that come out of your business to have some profit left over to pay for unexpected things, to have some profit there, to have money left in the bank that you can invest back into your business when things come up and when it's time to invest? And do you pay yourself? So that is pretty much cash flow management. It's money coming in, money going out, and how you manage that across the month and the year. Okay, so what are some of the main things that you can do to work on this cash flow situation for your business? So one of the main things I'm going to say is that you need to have a system in place to manage the money that's coming in and out. Now, I say this more than likely every episode that I talk to you, and that is about having a system, and I suggest Xero, an accounting system. I love Xero, and I would only suggest Xero to anyone that I work with. But it's just about having a system to track what you need to in your business, to have the money coming in and the money going out trackable and reconcilable and accountable, so that when you get to either a BAS or a tax situation where you've got to report back to the government and pay what's due, etc., then you've got an easy system to either give your accountant, give your BAS agent, give your bookkeeper, or in fact, if you're doing it yourself, then obviously you've got a system there to have all of that in place. Now, it's unlikely that a business is running everything off a spreadsheet, or it should be in this day and age. You should really be using something like Xero to do that professionally, and also not to get yourself into trouble with reporting on tax and BAS, etc. But if you do find yourself tracking things on a spreadsheet, then as long as you've got a very succinct spreadsheet and good way of doing that, then for now, let's say we'll go with that. If you are managing cash or having cash flow issues, or really finding that you need to focus on cash flow, then there are some other things you can do outside of having a system like Xero. And I also use a spreadsheet as well, just to track things that I really want to focus on. And then I use Xero and all the powerful reporting that has in there to help me with that tracking. So something like having a monthly direct debit payment date spreadsheet. You can do it in Word, you can do it in a spreadsheet, you can write it up on a board, however you do that. But having visible when direct debits are coming out of your bank account across a month. So I do it for across a whole month, so that you can really see what's coming up. So if you are really keeping on top of what's happening with the money in your business, so you're looking at your bank accounts and checking them every day or every second day to see what's been paid, what's coming through, etc., and looking at those balances, then cash flow is about looking at that and then knowing what's coming out and making sure you're covering off all of that. So I use a monthly direct debit sheet where I just type out everything. So I might have Xero subscription comes out on the 2nd of the month and it's $65. Adobe comes out on the 4th of the month and that's $18.50. Whatever it is, list them all out, put them in order, so across the month you can quickly glance at it each week and go, right, I know what's coming out this week. So equally as important is looking at what is payable to you. So having something that allows you to, at a quick glance, see what's going out. Equally as important is knowing what's coming in. And so knowing what is being paid by your clients. So whether you're a product business and that money comes through each and every day as you sell product, or whether you've got invoices that you receive for your services, knowing where that money all falls across the month and making sure that what's coming in is more than what's going out. They're the important things to keep a focus on, particularly when you're a small business and there is negligible amounts or there is negative sometimes for you. And it happens when you're new in business, that the money coming in is not quite equivalent to the money going out. You have to juggle things. But obviously your goal is to build that up and have more sales coming in than expenses going out. So Xero also has things like the accounts receivable and accounts payable report. And that will also really let you keep track of what you've got due to pay, what's coming up, but also more importantly, what's coming in. Is anything overdue? So regularly reviewing the invoices that are due to be paid to you. So that's accounts receivable by you, money to be paid to you. You really need to keep across that when you're in the stages of needing to keep a close eye on your cash flow. Because if the money coming in is late and you've got bills to pay, if you've got late payers, that really affects your cash flow. To a certain degree, your expenses are reasonably manageable because you're the one deciding on what you're spending. But when you've got invoices that are due to be paid to you, unfortunately, particularly for service-based businesses, that sits a lot in the control of the person paying you, unless you put some things in place to really tighten that up. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but I would definitely be across when your invoices are due and minimize late payers to your business if you're in a situation where cash flow is an important part of your business to manage. When we're talking about cash flow and expenses, it's also important in tight cash flow times not to pay invoices early. So if an invoice comes in, but it's not due for 3 weeks, then it's better for your cash flow to wait and pay it when it's due rather than today when it's come in. The money is better in your bank account and it's better manageable when you pay it when it's due rather than paying things early. Even setting direct debits and things up so that those types of invoices come out on the day it's due or the day before it's due, etc., is a better way to manage your cash flow. Another thing to really focus on in tight cash flow times where possible is looking at your invoicing and your sales process. So the type of work you do, and particularly if you're service-based, can you invoice in advance for work? Can you take deposits for large pieces of work that you're doing? Can you increase your rates? Can you decrease the payment terms you give clients? So instead of giving them 7 days to pay, give them no payment terms. Particularly in tight cash flow times, these are the things you can help to control or how and when the money comes back into your business for work that you've done. For large expenses in your business, consider looking out for payment plans so that you can pay things over time. But absolutely look into how much interest they're charging, preferably none, preferably a minimal amount of interest. But if that's what you need to do in your business to give you better cash flow, particularly in the beginning of your business where you're still trying to manage your cash flow, that's definitely something to look into for larger expenses that you have. Also, equally, if you've got large invoices that are overdue to be paid to you, so you're trying to chase up clients who haven't paid and get some money through the door to help with your cash flow, if you're in that situation, getting some money from that client is better than them holding off until they can pay your invoice. So, for example, in that case, if you're chasing the money and you're calling and people are delaying paying you, then perhaps agree on a payment plan with them. For example, pay me $200 of the invoice today and then pay me $200 from the next 4 weeks until you've paid it off. Something like that is helpful for your cash flow to get that money in rather than having thousands of dollars sitting there owed to you that your clients are in control of when they pay that. So that's something that you can do for your cash flow as well to help the situation that you're in terms of managing that. So the last part I wanted to touch on is how do you know you're successfully managing your cash flow? The signs that you're doing that well are going to be that you're not stressing about how you're going to pay your bills each week. The money's there, the money's on direct debits, comes out, you know the money is coming in and going out each week well. You're tracking that, and generally at a glance, whether it's in Xero or a spreadsheet that you're using to track this information, you can easily see everything's happening as it should be and it's flowing in and out nicely. Your clients are paying you on time. They're just doing what you've asked them to do and they're paying on time. That's a great place to be in. You feel good about what you're charging and what you're offering. So you're not thinking, oh, I really should feel like I should be charging more here, but I'm not quite sure if my clients would agree to that or if they would stay with me if I increase my charge rate. So when you really feel good about what you're charging and what you offer, then I believe that you'll be successfully managing your cash flow. You've got confidence in making good financial decisions for your business. The good thing about having a good handle on cash flow means that when you need to go and make a financial decision, you know where your cash flow is at. And so therefore you can go and look up that information, make a decision about whether it's the right time to, for example, invest or bring in a staff member or whatever those things may be. Also, a good sign of success is that you've actually got money in the bank to invest back into your business when you need it. So a course comes up that would be perfect to take you to that next level. You've got the money there and you can go and pay for that. You're paying yourself. This is a big one. If you're managing your cash flow really well, you're going to be getting to a place where you're paying yourself. So if you're not doing that now, then cash flow is definitely one of the things you need to start getting control of to get to that point of being able to have that money there to pay yourself. And also you'll feel confident generally in your abilities to manage your cash flow. You're feeling good about that and things are running smoothly and you're not having to focus as much time on it because it's just happening well and the things you've put in place are happening and making your cash flow management successful. So that's it for the episode. If you found till the end, you'll get the discount code that you can jump into the Money In, Money Out mini course that I have. So if you are listening to this episode and feeling like cash flow is definitely something that you need to get under control, that course will definitely help you with that. So I hope you got something out of today's episode. There's been lots of little bits and pieces in there that you could easily go away and action, even if you just chose one or two. So take care, and I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye for now. This episode was brought to you by my mini course, Money In, Money Out. Head over to the website, blossomingbusiness.com.au, for this episode's show notes under podcasts. And if you're ready to stop flying blind and tackle those finances, then sign up and get started on the Money In, Money Out course. So for still being here and being a podcast listener, you can use the discount code MIMO15 and get 15% off the course. So that's MIMO, number 1 and number 5, MIMO15. So you've been listening to the Her Money, Her Business podcast with me, Sonia Belzarolo. If you've enjoyed this episode, please also head over to iTunes and leave us a review. It really does help to get the podcast out to more people, and I love hearing your feedback. So thanks for listening. Here's to knowing your finances and growing your business, because it's your money and your business.